Hello, my health and fitness newsletter people, or the non-newsletter people, sorry. But if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get this in your inbox on Sunday mornings. So annvalley.com/subscribe. So I figured I'd get that in there. Also, I wanted to get in Happy Mother's Day. I'm sucking on this because it helps my dry mouth, sorry. Happy Mother's Day to all your mothers, grandmothers, aunts, dog and cat moms, like all you women. You know, we have International Women's Day, but I think every day should be Women's Day because we do so much. So happy day for everyone. My GLP-1 week. I take my shots on Wednesdays. And I'm still like the weight loss thing isn't really getting going yet. I'm steady though, so that's always good. And I'm throwing away food. So that's a good sign for me because like I said, I used to be like, oh, I should eat all this because I think don't want to be bothered clearing the plate or whatever. You know, I would just eat it. So I'm not doing that. I think I am eating less. So again, a little bit of nausea, but it may not be because of this, you know, and, so we'll see. Now I have one more at 0.5 milligrams and then I go up to 1 full milligram. So like, I'm expecting to see more results as these things, as the dosage increases, and I will continue to let you know how it's going. And if you have any specific questions, like again, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just someone that's going through this and sharing my journey with you. And I've done a lot of research, like I'm a smart cookie. I've done my research. A lot of my decisions, though, are based on logic, but a lot of them are based on emotional things, just like anybody would. So, you know, I'm just sharing this because I know not a lot of people do. A lot of people feel shame. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today, is that in the... what originally kind of got me to the point where I was seriously considering this was the first show that Oprah had on ABC, that had medical professionals and people that had been through this and some people that had negative results with it. And, but so there was a follow-up online last Thursday, I think. It was 3 hours and it had so much great information in it. So it got me thinking and wanting to share a lot of that with you guys. But the main thing that I want to say starting out, it should be my last thing, but I don't want to forget it, is that the tide is changing. People's perceptions of body types needs to change. And it is changing. I don't think it's going to change 100% because I do think like people still have their prejudices and it's been in society for so long, but I'm hoping it will come to the point where we can be who we are authentically without having to worry about changing. So we just need to be a little bit braver, each of us. So just be like, I am doing this. People might think this is easy for me. It is not easy for me. When I first decided to come out on this, you know, people reached out and said, oh my God, I didn't realize you felt like that. And I'm exposing a lot of things like about my family, about my childhood that people didn't realize because my family were really good at covering it up. And like my mom was a very proud woman. And so we faked it. And I think that that's part of the problem. I think that really is part of a lot of the problems I have right now with being authentic with myself. Because we had to hide so many things for so long. So just be a little bit braver every day. Like I am. I'm helping you. Other people help me, and watching these things help me. So that's why I'm hoping it's helping you. So we just need to be a little bit braver. So hopefully some of this information will help you with that. So the Oprah show, she started out talking about, like, the first time she was on the Tonight Show, Joan Rivers was the guest host, and she was just talking about her weight and like shaming her. And Oprah felt ashamed. She didn't feel like somebody had done something wrong to her. And I think we all kind of go through that too much. And then a lot of people were shamed for taking these drugs. And I felt a little embarrassed that I was taking these drugs. Like, why shouldn't I just be proud of who I am? Why should I feel I need to change this? But you have to do what's right for you. And that was the overwhelming message in this. And there was a woman at the end who was like an endocrinologist at Yale that was just amazing. And that was pretty much her message. You know, you got to do what's right for you. You know, so if you feel that you are healthy at whatever weight that you are, and this is for maybe people that would be perceived as being underweight as well. Like if you feel healthy, if you feel good, if you have the right energy, you know, you have to learn to, you don't have to do anything. I'm sorry. You can own it. You can own it, and you can be who you are. So there was one woman called Kate Storino who was quite critical of Weight Watchers. Now she is a body acceptance advocate. She wrote a book called Body Talk that I'm thinking of getting and reading. And if anybody wants to read any of these books with me, reach out and let's do it. If we need a book club, let's do it. I want to support people. I want us to work together. Try not to cry this time, to do this and make a change. We can make a change in the world, guys. Like, it's this kind of thing that we need to do. So like if Oprah's doing it on a big level, we can do this on our own level. And even if it just helps us, that's good enough. But I think every little bit is going to make a bigger change in the world. And I don't think I'm stupid for thinking that. I really do think that. So her book, Body Talk, she's a podcaster, I think, a blogger. I'm following all these people on Instagram now. So if you're following me, you're going to see me sharing stuff from these people. She was calling out the woman that's the CEO of Weight Watchers for the last show, because she said she was so close to apologizing and thinking that Weight Watchers was helping perpetuate that weight loss was all about just willpower and that people weren't working hard enough if it wasn't working for them. So they had the two of them on the show this time. And the woman from Weight Watchers has said that that it's just natural that as humans, we want to celebrate the success stories. And that's what Weight Watchers was about. And it's a commercial entity. And of course, they were wanting to promote like the successes, which in their case is weight loss. And that a lot of their programs were, you know, based on things that, you know, and Oprah's big thing, and a lot of people say about the Maya Angelou quote, like, when you know better, you do better. So she's saying that now they're doing better. Now, a lot of people, like I noticed on the Instagram feed of Weight Watchers, when this show was announced, people were commenting like, we don't need this show. We need our local classes back, because people liked that, right? Because it's that support, it's that connection. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but they have started getting into the weight loss drugs. So like I always, when people are talking from a company like that, makes me wonder how much of what they're saying is down to commercial stuff and marketing and everything. So like they're now going to be trying to market these drugs, but they are, you know, they are accepting the fact that like there is biology involved in this. It's not just about willpower. So that's a lot of the message. And I think that those of you that are like me know that that's true and feel better that like, wow, okay, I'm not like stupid or silly or weak or lazy. So we got to remember that, ladies. So let's see what else. So they had They have a workbook. I didn't get mine because I signed up at the last minute and I never did get my workbook for this. But they had different exercises that we did. But it was talking about like shame, thinking about through the years, like when you were shamed. And I know I was called fat. I was called other names. The perception that people have. So it's kind of people now speaking out about how people are prejudiced and judgy of people that look to be overweight or bigger than what is perceived to be acceptable by society. And so then we judge ourselves. But I think, like, I'll put my hand up. I am a judgy person. And a lot of people think like, Anne, you're so nice. Like, I'm kind of known for being such a nice person. And I am a nice person. I really am. But I am analytical. I'm just analytical by nature. So I'm always trying to figure out. But I also think that Marianne Williamson, I think I said this in the last video, was that, or maybe I didn't cover this bit, that being judgy, you're probably judging yourself more. And this she had in her weight loss book about that judginess is a monkey on your back. That judginess is holding you down because you are judging yourself more. So since reading that about probably 7 or 8 years ago, trying to be less judgy. And like when I catch myself judge, I say, judge not lest ye be judged, which I think is from the Bible, but something I'd heard. And so when I catch myself, I try to be more understanding, and I am quite an empath or compassionate, whichever it really is, of other people when I see them, that, they may have an autoimmune disease. They may have had some injury. They may have had something terrible happen in their life. And like, even when people are mean, sometimes you want to be like, what's wrong with them? Like, why are they going to be so mean? But there's always something going on. Eckhart Tolle, one thing I learned too was people are only as conscious as they can be. Include yourself in that. So whatever it is you're going through, and what other people are going through. So the judginess kind of has to stop. So stop judging yourself first. And if you catch yourself being judgy, judge not, lest ye be judged. There was another woman on, Jen Hatmaker, from the New York Times. So she was talking about that it's a fact that there's the obesity penalty, which is, especially for women, not for men, but for women who are perceived to being overweight, that's what I'm going to call it, or obese, whatever, get promoted less at jobs, get paid less at jobs. I don't know if the study was like equal, like for women that applied for the jobs, or the fact that we might be less likely to apply for a job if we don't feel confident in ourselves because of how we look. I think I told the story about how I went on, applied to be on a TV show in Ireland. And I said to them that I am more reluctant about like doing public speaking. And it's not because I don't know what to talk about. It's because I worry about how I look, and I would feel uncomfortable and not getting into pictures and things like that. So that all holds you back. Like as a marketing person, me not liking how I looked in videos, here I am doing videos, this is a good exercise for me, held me back in my marketing career. Plus many other little things I judge myself about, not putting myself out there as much. So that's something I want to help women with, especially being able to speak up. And I have a course coming up with that soon called Raising Your Voice, helping women to speak up more, regardless of what it is that's holding them back. But women tend to not speak up as much in many different scenarios, professional and personal. And so that's something that I do really want to help people with, because I don't have as much of a problem with that, just speaking up. But when it comes to being videoed or standing up in front of people where I'm like on a stage or something and worry about what will I wear? Because I think that's another way, and that with people that are larger size have trouble getting clothes that look good. And, I hired a stylist when I started my company a year and a half ago. And I told her straight out, like, a lot of the plus size clothing is just not the style. Like, it's not as stylish as other clothing, like how Lane Bryant used to be back in the day, big floral patterns and things like that. And so I thought she understood. And she did help me a lot with my height issue. My trouble was that because I was a size 18, maybe 20 at times, that petites didn't come in those sizes, like only certain lines. But if I wanted to get a Ralph Lauren or a Calvin Klein or Donna Karan, which are lines I like, I wasn't going to be able to get a petite unless I was size 14. So I was able to get myself down to 14. Like, that was kind of my goal, like get up so I could buy petite like jeans and things like that, because that's where petite comes more in. But the stylist got me like taking my stuff to a seamstress and getting stuff redone. But like, she was kind of annoying me because we were doing it from a distance on Zoom, and I was trying to find something to wear to the photo shoot I was doing. And so we had one day, I was in my room and I'd ordered all these clothes that she had recommended. And some of them were great. Some of them were not so great. But she seemed so set on these things that were like big women clothes. And I was like, no. And like, I had a meltdown and fired her in the middle of the session because I have emotional issues tied in with this. And I had discussed this with her. That I was so worried about this photo shoot for my headshots and my personal branding photo shoot. I was so worried about it that I was so like, these clothes have to be like perfect and make me look good, because I thought that I could hide the weight, and obviously some things would be better than others. But like, I just had a meltdown because it was just such an emotional thing for me. And I just, that's it, I'll figure out. And I went into the photo shoot with like a suitcase full of clothes, and they came out really good, the pictures. Like, the photographer was wonderful, and some of them, you could see my roles in certain outfits and things like that. But then, like, after I kind of was gonna fire her, I asked her, I said, can you give me like my style book kind of thing, because that's what I expected. She'd showed me that when I hired her. And then one of the things she thought was really nice was one of these hideous tunics with all these weird patterns. And I'm like, she never got me. And I think a lot of us have these kind of issues with what to wear, what's the style. And, I'm still kind of struggling with that. And it's something I want to be better about, so it's easier to just pull something out of my closet. Or I saw in the special about David Beckham, like, he's real OCD, and now he's a big fashion icon. And so he has like a rail like you'd have in a shop in his bedroom or his walk-in closet that he probably has. It's as big as my bedroom or bigger, a rail, and it has all of his outfits for the week on it. And he picks them out and he does that himself. It's not like he has a stylist. I mean, he obviously, I say obviously, but he probably has a stylist for like public things. But like this, he has just like a rail with what he's wearing every day of the week. And I'm like, I need to start doing that. So I haven't yet, but I should start doing that. But time, right? So that's a suggestion for those of us that are a bit schizophrenic when it comes, because here I've got like my turn up stuff, and that's kind of fun to wear. I like a lot of the classic kind of looks because this is always something that I get from my mother, who was came of age in the 40s. So it was like the whole Lauren Bacall, Katharine Hepburn kind of look I love. So, but I always felt like I didn't have my kind of style. And a lot of it was because I don't look the way I think I should look. And in my mind, I look different than I see a picture. And it's like, oh, the shortness and the shortness doesn't help either. So, but moving along. So the obesity penalty. So that's why we need to be braver and why we need to speak out, because that's something that's just wrong. It's not just about ourselves. It's about the whole society that's just wrong and needs to be fixed. And whether it's we need to be braver about asking for the money that we're due. I mean, women just in general are penalized, to know our own value and to speak up for what we need. So raising your voice is coming. I just need to get my act together so I can launch it. There was another great woman, Trezi McMillan Cottom. I'm going to put links to all these people's websites and social media. I believe she's a psychologist, and I don't know if she's Oprah's. Oprah did say my psychologist, but she may have just saying she wished she was her psychologist. Had some other great things to say, but I did not jot those down. So they had Rebel Wilson. So I know we're all curious when we see somebody famous like Oprah, and everyone knows it, like she went on the drug. And when Rebel Wilson lost a lot of weight, everybody was like, oh my God, Now her reason was she wanted to have a baby. And a doctor told her, that was her wake-up call, that she'd have better chances because she was older. So she was like wanting to get her eggs frozen. And the doctor told her that she'd have a better chance if she lost weight. So that's what motivated her. And I think sometimes that is, like we said, like my wake-up call was the autoimmune disease. And also that I knew, like, I'm 60. And if I didn't start now, it just gets harder and harder as you get older. And like I say this to my daughter and a lot of younger women too, like if you don't have issues now, get the good habits in place because it's harder as you get older. So do your Kegels. Don't wait till you're pregnant. Don't wait till you're older and have incontinence problems. Do your Kegels. Do whatever you need to do to be as healthy as possible, whether it's eating habits, exercise, movement habits, stress reduction. Like these are all things that impact our health. And that should be what's most important. So I want to circle back to that main theme here, and that it's what you want out of your life. But sometimes it's hard to know because there's so many different signals coming at us from the people in our lives, from TV and media, things that happen at work, things that happen all around you, that sometimes you don't know what it is you really want. So I think it's finding time to investigate what it is that you really want and what's really important to you. And like for me, like I thought that my business was most important and that I needed to spend all my time on my business. But then when I decided to prioritize my health and fitness, and started doing like getting up early and doing a workout, that became, I found the time, but that the working out and getting more fit and having more energy was actually better for my business. I probably got so many messages going here, and I hope it's not overwhelming for people, but I did kind of want to hit all these things and go through what was on this show, because it really did make a big impact on me, because I do think we need to all work together to make a difference when it comes to this. So whether or not you lose the weight, you still got to be happy with yourself. And I do feel that I wasn't ready to lose weight sooner. Like I had to go through all these journeys, like I said, because before when I felt like I started to lose weight, I'd kind of freak out because I'd be worried about men's attention or, who am I really, kind of thing. And then like with doing the weight loss drugs, like, oh no, like, am I letting down my fellow plus size sisters because I'm doing this? And it's not about that. It's about me, and it's about what I feel I need. I need to be healthy. I need to be healthy. I need to be there for my children. When they have children, I want to be there for my grandchildren. I want to be as healthy as possible. And being a single woman, going into, your older years, I need to take care of myself because I don't have somebody that can take care of me, right? So I need to be able to do things for myself. I need to be as fit as possible. And I am already finding that some things are hard because of like the autoimmune thing, like doing jewelry and opening, like the whole arthritis thing. So younger people, pay attention. Be as healthy as possible because maybe you won't have to deal with as much of this stuff when you get to my age. And sometimes you do just have a condition or a disease that is not dependent on how you were. But if you are, like, my hope and my theory is that as physical as physically fit that I am and healthy that I am, it's going to have less of an impact on me. So back to the show. So Rebel Wilson. So she worried about her career because she made a career as the overweight, funny friend, right? She said she made millions of dollars. Her people around her did tell her that this could ruin her career. But for her health and like the ability to have children, and she does have a baby now, were more important. And I think a lot of us do have issues with the people around us worrying about us changing. Whether it's your partner or whether it's your family or your friends, and that is sometimes something that is one of the things that makes it really hard for some people on their weight loss journey. And again, it's not about them. It's about you, and find new friends if they're not supportive of you. And I know that's very hard. You can't find new family. Your family is your family. So it's either not caring what other people say, like that's easier said than done. Caring, but then just moving on with what you do, take it on and just like, well, this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it. My tactic was to not tell people and just do it. And hopefully it worked out. And then I'm just me and then it's kind of sneak it up on them. Like that's not the best way. That's often my way of doing things that has gotten me in trouble before, not being straightforward about things. But the more that you investigate your own feelings, write journaling. Like for me, journaling helps me understand my feelings so much better. And then I'm able to then communicate it to other people. But there probably will be people that just don't get it. And that's when you have to decide, do I want them in my life? Do I need to move on? Do I limit their access to me? This could be a whole episode in itself, and maybe it will be in the future. If that's something, like anything that you guys want to discuss, or like I'd love to have like Zoom calls. If you want to do Zoom calls that we can just talk about stuff together, let me know. I'll do Zoom calls. I haven't done a Facebook group for this because sometimes you do them and nobody signs up or nobody interacts on it. If you would interact in a Facebook group with people and think that that would help you, tell me. I will do it. I can do any of this stuff, and I'm willing to do any of this stuff to help. Here comes my cat. So then she's on my notes. Go away, go away, go away. Okay, so Rebel Wilson wrote a book, and I definitely want to read that. So if you want to read that with me, let me know. She lost her virginity at 35. And she said to her that was one of the most embarrassing things to reveal. Like she was worried about revealing things about her personal life, and that was one of the big things. And I think that is one thing too, that we're afraid of revealing our true feelings. Because we don't want to be judged for them, but I think also because we then have to deal with it because we let it out, let the open Pandora's box, and then we got to deal with all this stuff. I'm coming across that now, like I'm revealing things I didn't ever reveal publicly before, and I may not have even told my friends before. That's my cat moving my phone because she wants to, I need to get my spray bottle, excuse me, or she might knock this whole thing over. She knew her eating behaviors were toxic. So on top of the fact that she wanted to be healthy, like she knew, like, because she was pretty happy with herself as she was. But she did know that there was toxic reasoning. And she said she got a lot of it from her mother. And I know a lot of us have had those sorts of issues. Like my mother was slim, and she used to talk about how she would starve herself. And that was always the thing. Like, remember, like I said, like she came of age in the 40s. So the 40s and the 50s is when she was kind of a young woman. And like the Donnelly side of the family are kind of the chubby ones. The Kaufman side, my mom's side, were tall German, strong, sturdy people. But her mother wasn't. And her dad used to always put the mother down for being weak, for being emotional, and probably the whole weight thing tied in with that. And so my mother, she had lots of health issues. And if she gained weight, it was because had health issues. She wasn't active. She was 5'7", right? I would have loved to have been 5'7", I think. But, you know, she was 5'7". My dad was also 5'7". So I definitely have the Donnelly body. I got my mom's hair and other features, but I got the Donnelly body. And she was talking about my Aunt Lib, another short, curvy woman, starving herself. So it was always all about the starving yourself kind of thing. Like, that's what you had to do. And I would say to my mom, like, Mom, why did you let me eat a whole pack of Oreos, right? And she's like, well, you know, whenever I say anything, you get so hurt. And and that's true, right? And as mothers, you know, in dealing with our children, and if there's any of these sorts of issues, it's really, really difficult because we're coming from it with our own pain behind it. But also, you know, it is difficult to talk about it. And so this is another message that came up that I thought was really important. This is really difficult to talk about, right, with other people. Because we have all these feelings tied up into it, and people take it as being like that you're judging them, that you're, insulting them, that you're, saying bad things about them. So it's such a difficult topic to talk about. And like, depending on who your healthcare providers are, some people handle it really well. Like the endocrinologist that I talked about, that was amazing. I actually looked her up. You could get an appointment with her at Yale if I was there. And I was tempted to, and Oprah said, like, I want you to be my doctor. And I wonder if Oprah is going to get her to be her doctor. But yeah, you can actually, though after this show, it'd probably be harder to get an appointment with her. And I was talking to somebody else, not anything to do with weight gaining, but of someone that was recently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And the one thing, like I join all these groups on Facebook for the autoimmune diseases that I have or have symptoms of, that I feel enough that I probably have that disease. And over again, people get these rheumatologists that don't believe them, that just think, oh, you just got to suffer through this stuff. And it's like, if you don't feel that your doctor or your psychologist or whoever you're talking to about these things doesn't care about you truly and doesn't believe what you're going through, find somebody else. And I know that could be easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard to find good people. I'll tell you, my first rheumatologist was amazing, and I felt that she was taking such good care of me. Then I had to move to another one because she left to do research, of course. So then the other one, she was really good too. And they were all at the Center for Rheumatology, so there was a lot of rheumatologists. Then they stopped taking my insurance. So I switched back to, I won't say who, where, or what. And I felt she just wanted to prove that I didn't have the symptoms I had, or that I didn't have, like the way I was talking to her. Whereas the other ones were like, oh, wow, like you've got these things, we need to get to the bottom of it. Where this one seemed more like wanting to prove that I didn't have. Now, she's really good for a lot of things. I'm still seeing her, and hopefully this isn't going to impact my care. But that manner, and I know there's lots of doctors that are like that they more want to disprove things than to actually prove and get to the bottom of it. And like one of the things that triggered but got me really thinking about taking these weight loss drugs was a nephrologist. That thank God I didn't really need a nephrologist. I didn't have any kidney issues, but she helped find that. when we were talking about my different autoimmune thing, she was like, we need to get to the bottom of this. And she actually said maybe I needed a different rheumatologist. She's like, we need to get to the bottom of this. Like, she said, because you're doing all these right things. You're doing, you're active. I'm sure you're eating right. You're a smart woman. Like, to hear that stuff from this woman, like she was an older woman, like an experienced specialist, that, was talking to me this way. It made me feel so good. Like, yes, she's acknowledging I'm doing all the things. She said, you need those shots. And so I'm like, maybe I do need those shots. So that got me all started on that. But to find people like that and have people like that that are on your side, like everybody needs to have a circle of people around them that make them feel like that. Like I talked about last week, like you need those people. So it includes your doctor, your accountant, your family, your friends, anybody that comes into your life, that you rely on for advice or for care. They need to be caring, and they need to listen to you, and they need to be good to work with. Like my stylist that I spent all that money on, she didn't really understand me. So I've learned my lesson, because that's happened to me with a few coaches and stylists that cost a bit of money, of going into it too quickly and not paying a lot of money and not finding out ahead of time, like, is this a good working relationship before you get fully invested in it. So another tip, hope you're taking notes, because there's a lot going on here. Busy Phillips then came on the show. I keep going back to the show, right? So she was just like furious about a lot of things, and like she is like concerned about how much men and like the government and everyone are trying to control what women do in women's bodies and things like that. So she's got the whole lot of that going on. But she was also getting like annoyed about how people were judging Oprah about taking these drugs and all that. And so, one of the things they were talking about is that like a lot of, I've said this, I didn't want to be in the videos a lot. And then like I go back and I look, this is really sad. I look at my photos of my children and there's very few with me in it. Even more recently, when I thought I was putting myself in the picture more, it's easier just to take a picture, isn't it? But also like, even now that I feel better and I am getting in the picture, but there was one woman they kept calling out in the audience. She must have said I somehow didn't see it, that she didn't like getting in the picture. So they were saying, get in the picture. So if you are not putting yourself in the picture, get in the picture. And even if you're not happy with how you look, right? Because you're probably being over judgmental, but don't leave yourself out. Get yourself in it. Get yourself in there. So the woman, the endocrinologist I was talking about, Anya Jasterhoff, whatever, in the notes I'll have the links to her. She was talking a lot. Now I wrote about food noise, and she was saying food noise is biology. So she was explaining that, like, say the CEO of Weight Watchers, she felt that like Weight Watchers worked for everyone because it worked for her. She lost 60 pounds. She kept it off. So this doctor, Anya, was comparing like Oprah with that woman. So she was saying that like, so food noise is our body's like signal that we need more energy. So it triggers to your brain that you need more food, you need more energy. So our bodies are all different. So with some of us, our body feels like it needs more. And so they were joking about how if there was a famine, Oprah would survive and the other woman wouldn't, because her body's not suited for that. But so like, because our body's storing energy and our brain controls it, that is triggered. The food noise is what tells us we need to eat. So like if you had been like 300 pounds and you went to 200 pounds and you're trying to diet, your body's saying, no, but you were 300 pounds, like you need more energy. So that's why like with the food noises, sometimes we need. So this is where this woman who made so much sense and was saying that some people need these drugs to help with the hormones that are giving these triggers to our brain. So she was really good, and she was talking about how, and like when I lived in Europe and we'd go on vacation in like Mexico or Spain, and there'd be these women from those countries at these resorts, and they just seem like, people always talk about French women, they just seem thin, and it's because like, is it the way they eat? Is it, the society around them? And like, I did notice this, like that, but they just had like more body confidence. So this Dr. Anya was talking about this obesogenic environment. So it's just about like how our bodies have gotten a little like off track because of the types of foods. So in America, we do have a lot more processed foods. Our society, there's just more stress. So it's the type of foods, the way that we eat. And then the messages from society around us have messed us up so much that some other cultures just don't have that so much. So that's another thing that we're battling with. So if we can try to change that, which is very hard because like a lot of like, say McDonald's, they're trying to give us all the nutrition information. They stopped selling. Why did McDonald's stop doing salads? I don't know, but I think too that we need to be able to decide that, okay, I'm going to have McDonald's once in a while, but that's for that, but that our main food should be like the healthy, nutritious foods for us, that we should be feeding our body and nourishing ourselves and giving ourselves energy. But instead, the whole commercial aspect of our society is selling, and, easy foods that are processed are just, things treated because they last longer. It's easier to sell stuff and mass produce stuff. That's the way our culture is. And like, we can't all afford organic food all the time. We can't all afford to like get fresh foods all the time, or we just don't have the time. But it's just kind of understanding that's part of what's behind all this. I don't know if there's much else. Like, I might do a whole thing about what Dr. Anya said because she was just amazing. But the action I'm going to have us all take. So remember, just be a little bit braver every day. And maybe this action will help us. And this was something someone said. So I want to, oh no, I lost my sheet that had the action on it. For 30 days, every morning, offer a kind word to yourself to remind you how remarkable you are. So for years, we've been telling ourselves all this bad stuff. And my daughter does this with me sometimes. If I say something negative, she'll say, quick, say something really good about yourself. So every morning when you get up, and if you want to send it to me or DM me, if you're not like linked with me on social media, get linked with me on social media. I am now doing like these morning gratitudes and other sort of manifesting things with another woman that's a turn-up woman, and we send each other our voice recordings that we do, and it has been really powerful. But just do it for yourself. But if you feel like you need help, reach out to me. Every morning for the next 30 days, look in the mirror and say one great thing about yourself, about why you are so remarkable. Another thing they talked about was like saying 3 things that you're grateful for about your body. But I'm saying let's just give yourself one kind word for 30 days. So this is March 11th. So let's get through the middle of June, right? We'll get ready for the summer, right? We're going to feel good about ourselves no matter how we look or how we feel even. Like we might be a bit physically down, but mentally we're going to be up. Because every day for the next 30 days, we're going to look in the mirror in the morning and tell ourselves why we are so remarkable. So I'm remarkable because I have a passion for helping you. Okay? I'm going to make that about this today. I do have a real passion about this, and it helps me. Like I said, this is keeping me accountable. It's one reason why I decided to do it. I said, if I'm going to do it, I need something big to keep me accountable. So doing this in front of the world or the 20 of you that signed up for my newsletter. But it's doing it. I'm doing it. So that's one thing that makes me remarkable today. So, like I said, if you want to read any of those books, if you want help with any of this stuff, if you want to do a Zoom, if you want to do a Facebook group, reach out to me, reply to my email if you get my emails, admin@annedonnelly.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all those social media channels except TikTok. I'm on there, but I'm not doing anything on there. So please, if there's more that I can do to help you and also to get this movement going, because we do need to have a change. So just be a little bit braver, look in the mirror, tell yourself something amazing, and we're going to get that much further. So thank you so much for listening. And I didn't cry. Almost.